So I want you to imagine a wanderer, and standing before him is this vast, deep, primal abyss. Stretched across the chasm isn't some bridge of steel or stone, it's just a rope. And this rope, we're told, is humanity itself. We're about to dive into this incredibly powerful allegory from Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and it's an idea that isn't really about getting to the other side, but about the dangerous and noble act of the journey itself. This is the architecture of what he called overgoing.
This one single quote, it frames our entire existence. See, we're not a finished product. We're a process, a constant transition. We start out tethered to our primal animal instincts, right? But the rope leads somewhere else, towards a higher potential, what Zarathustra calls the Übermensch, often translated as the overman or beyond man. Now, the key word on this slide is dangerous. This journey is not safe. It's a tightrope walk over nothingness, where falling is always a possibility. And that very danger, that's what makes the whole thing meaningful.
So let's define this core concept, because it's everything. Overgang, or Übergang in the original German, is basically the engine of transformation. It's that conscious choice to never be satisfied with who you are right now, to constantly strive, to overcome your present self, and to move toward a state of greater strength, creativity, and self-mastery. You can almost think of it as the ultimate philosophy of continuous growth. It's a verb, not a noun. It's something you do.
Okay, so here we're going to explore this idea of man as the bridge itself. That abyss down below, it's not just empty space. It represents the chaos, the uncertainty, the nihilism, that feeling that life is completely meaningless, which always threatens to swallow us. So the choice to just step out onto that rope, that's the choice to create your own meaning, right in the face of that void. You know, stepping onto that rope is actually a profound act of rejection. You're rejecting the simple comfort of the safe harbor. I mean, the harbor is secure, it's predictable, it's warm, but let's be honest, a ship in a harbor isn't doing what it was built for. To overgo is to choose the open sea. It's to move beyond that instinct-driven animal state and to embrace a dangerous, noble longing for something more. It's about willing your own evolution.
So this journey presents us with two fundamentally different paths, and there really is no middle ground. It's a stark choice between becoming what Zarathustra calls the last man and embracing the incredibly difficult path of the overgoer.
And this slide just lays out the contrast perfectly. On one side, you have the overgoer who accepts danger as essential. They don't just follow the old rules, they forge new values. They become a vessel of creative fire. But on the other side, you have the last man. He just wants comfort and security. He avoids all risk, all greatness, all pain. He is small, he is diminished, and as Zarathustra says, he just blinks in the shallow light of his own contentment, literally unable to understand anything greater than himself. Now there is a major temptation on this journey. Zarathustra calls them the poisoners. These are the people who will tell you that the meaning of your struggle isn't here, on this rope, but in some other world, some super-earthly realm. But the true seeker, the overgoer, rejects this completely. They remain radically true to the earth, understanding that the whole point of this journey is to find meaning in this life, right here, right now.
And here is where the philosophy takes this fascinating, paradoxical turn. To go over, right, to ascend toward that higher state, you actually have to do the opposite first. You have to go down. And this isn't a failure. It's not a misstep. It's the most essential part of the process. It's a deliberate, courageous descent into yourself.
Zarathustra's own words capture this beautiful paradox. He loves the people who are in the process of down-going because this descent is an act of profound self-confrontation and sacrifice. It's the hard work of breaking down who you are so you can build something new. It is the only path that truly prepares you for that dangerous crossing.
So this down-going can really be broken down into a three-stage process. First, you have to shed the old values, the ones you just inherited from society without thinking. Second, you have to face the chaos within yourself, confronting your fears and your weaknesses without flinching. And it's only from that courageous confrontation that the third step becomes possible. You can give birth to a dancing star, which is a symbol of a new, self-created value system that is uniquely and totally your own.
Okay, so this brings us to the active, creative part of the journey. The downgoing clears the ground. Now something has to be built. This is all about becoming the author of your own meaning, the creator of your own destiny.
For Nietzsche,
The death of God is the critical event that makes all this creation possible. It signals the collapse of a single external source of authority and values. And while that sounds terrifying, for the overgoer it's a profound liberation. With all those old shadows gone, the human spirit is finally free to create, to literally engrave its own new values upon new tables.
So what drives this creation? It's the will to power. Now, this isn't about dominating other people. It's about the fundamental internal drive of all life to expand, to grow, and to overcome resistance. For the overgoer, the will to power is the engine of their journey. It's that psychological force focused inward, pushing them to achieve self-mastery and transform themselves into this dynamic, creative force. And this brings us to the absolute climax of the will to power. The critical point is this: we can't change the past. The it was is a heavy burden we all carry. But the creative will can reframe it by taking absolute ownership of your entire life, every triumph, every mistake, every ounce of suffering. You can declare, "Thus I willed it." This is radical acceptance. You're affirming your entire history as necessary for who you are becoming. So, after crossing the rope, descending and ascending, forging new values, what is the ultimate point of this whole journey? Well, it's to arrive at the meaning of the earth, to make this life, this world, a triumphant affirmation of existence itself. And it's really important to be clear. The goal here, the Superman, isn't some ethereal spirit that flies away from the messiness of our earthly existence. It's the exact opposite. It's a being that dives deeper into the soil of this world, that loves its fate, and that finds its purpose right here. We have to walk, Zarathustra says, with the pride of the eagle, soaring high but always looking to the earth, and the wisdom of the serpent, which stays close to the ground.
And finally, the stakes are laid bare. This is not just some philosophical game. To refuse the crossing, to choose the shallow comfort of the last man, well, that's to settle for a safe but meaningless existence. In Zarathustra's chilling words, it is to walk willingly into the grave of the future, becoming a dead end for human potential.
And so this entire parable turns right back to you. The journey is about creating meaning in this world, not escaping from it. The question becomes deeply personal. What old values do you need to shed? What chaos do you need to face? And most importantly, what new values, born from your own will and your own struggle, will you engrave upon new tables?